Tēnā tātou katoa, good evening. There has been anger and outrage from around the motu about a leaked document that shows proposed changes to the interpretation of Te Treaty of Waitangi. The government's own advice describes it as highly contentious, in part because of the lack of consultation with the public before the select committee stage. The bill proposes 3 new principles based on the articles of the Treaty of Waitangi. The New Zealand government has the right to govern all New Zealanders, honour all New Zealanders in the chieftainship of their land and property, and all New Zealanders are equal under the law with the same rights and duties. Now, Māori Party co-leader Rawiri Waititi says the government's intention is to erase Te Treaty of Waitangi. He's called on supporters to let this be the fuel to their fire, saying we do not surrender, we do not cede. Well, Mike McRoberts is covering the national hui at Tūranga Waiwai Marae. And Mike, this information must have landed like a bombshell.
Tēnā koe, Sam. Yes, shocking, disbelief, disheartening is some of the words I've heard today. I'm at Te Papa Oro Tū Marae in Whatawhata. It's one of 11 marae that are hosting manuhere or visiting iwi for Kingi Tuheitia's Hui a Motu. Now, thousands have descended on this rohi today, and I can guarantee across those 11 marae, across this whole rohi tonight, the subject of conversation will be those leaked papers. Preparing to welcome their guests from Ngāti Kahungunu on a day of unwelcome news. The leaked paper from the Ministry of Justice calls the proposed legislation to define the principles of Te Treaty of Waitangi highly contentious, and it's already proving to be the case. On the eve of a national hui of unity, Te Pāti Māori co-leader Rawiri Waititi posted part of the leaked document today, saying it would fuel the fire of tomorrow's hui.
We will be relentless in our fight to ensure that we are not erased and that our rights are not extinguished when it comes to the political agenda of this current government.
Māori academics across the motu have been quick to criticise the proposed changes.
If there's enough truth in the document or in the rumour, then we should start sort of girding our loins, I think, and getting ready to battle.
This is a call to battle, do you think?
I think it's a call to battle. We're not going to let it ride, I don't think. I think the Maori population is here to discuss these sort of issues and to come up with some sort of reaction. And I'm sure there was going to be a very strong reaction to this.
I was quite surprised at how blatant the attempt to essentially invisibilise Māori.
It's thought around 7,000 Māori from across the motu will descend on Tūranga Waiwai tomorrow. Already motivated by some of the coalition government's proposals they see as anti-Māori. The leaked paper might now top the agenda.
I think it won't be received well. Māori are struggling to understand and comprehend the logic behind the way in which this discussion is being framed.
The last time iwi came together like this was 30 years ago, as protests around the country against the national-led government's so-called fiscal envelope, limiting the monetary value of treaty settlements, was roundly rejected and eventually dropped.
E ngā maunga whakahi, e ngā waipuna kaukau o ngā mātua, tēnā koutou.
Amongst the many speakers at tomorrow's hui will be 17-year-old Te Atamihi. She's a product of the kind of pathway that Māori are now concerned might be blocked or interrupted with the new government proposals.
It's just quite disheartening, I feel. I've heard stories of a lot of my kuia and karaua. They've actually tried to work with the government or, these types of people in the ministry. And, all that hard work of them building relationships, building bonds, it can be gone with a click of a finger.
With Ratana and Waitangi events to come, tomorrow's could well send a tohu or sign about how Māori plan to respond. Now, Sam, Te Ahamihi, who was in my story there, is going to university next year. She told me today she wants to be a lawyer and she wants to do treaty law. Just to give you some idea of the significance of this hui, and there is a real sense of fight heading into this. I was told today that this could be Kingi Tuheitia's most important accomplishment of his reign.
Tēnā koe, Mike. Thank you so much.
The proposed changes to our founding document were part of the coalition deal National struck with ACT.
National is promising the legislation won't make it through Parliament, but ACT is hoping to change their mind. Political reporter Amelia Wade explains.
a coalition founded on a plethora of political promises.
We will also advance ACT's Treaty Principles Act.
ACT wanted a referendum. It got a commitment to introduce a bill proposing changes to the treaty principles and then to let the public have a say.
What we've agreed as a government is that we will pursue it through first reading and into select committee, but there's no commitment beyond that point.
ACT has proposed and negotiated in coalition that Parliament will start to debate what the principles of the treaty really mean.
He and his right-wing redneck mates think they know more than everyone else, all the prime ministers, ministers and legal people over the last 40 years.
The proposed changes wouldn't be to the text of the treaty nor to Treaty of Waitangi themselves, but to the principles which are set out in a law to guide governments on treaty matters.
We've got a treaty with three parts to it, and then over the last 4 decades through the courts primarily, principles have been established in regards to the treaty. And this bill is about trying to codify what those principles are.
What it has done is has deliberately misinterpreted the wording in Te Tiriti to mean something totally, to mean in fact the exact opposite.
The legislation is National walking the delicate line between its commitment to its governing partner ACT and National's commitment to the public that there'll be no referendum on the treaty.
We'll support it to the Select Committee as per the coalition agreement. That gives everybody an opportunity to discuss these issues, but that's as far as our support is.
What do you make of the fact that this is essentially dead legislation walking?
The National Party have said they have no commitment either way after the first reading.
You will not be voting for the bill beyond that?
Well, the Prime Minister's indicated that that's as far as our support goes.
They've never ruled out voting for it further. They've just said they have no commitment to doing so.
It's the same thing. That's what we're saying. That's as far as our support goes.
And without National support, the changes are dead before they've even been debated.
Well, Amelia joins us now. So shouldn't National and ACT have sorted this out during their coalition talks?
Well, yes, but what is really interesting is that we really tried to push the Justice Minister today to rule out National voting for this beyond the Select Committee process, but he doggedly stuck to the script that that is not their intention to do so, because ruling it out would likely do serious damage to their relationship with ACT, because ACT is really hoping that it can change the minds of the public and of National. And what else is really interesting about today's development is this is the third major link that this government has faced. So clearly there are some within the public sector who are actively undermining the government.
OK, Amelia, thanks for that analysis.